Okay, so very good afternoon to all of you. And last class, what we have covered was about supply. If you can recap the supply component just to be on the same page. एक बार हम फिर से revise कर लेते हैं हमने last class में क्या share किया, so that once we proceed, you should be able to connect very well. Okay. So prior to the last class, we were talking all throughout about demand because demand drives supply, isn't it? So today we are going to share about or the last class what we had shared about supply. So we have started with supply, and you might have understood now that demand and supply are two sides of the coin, isn't it? So if you create demand, there has to be supplier who should cater to your demand. अगर आप डिमांड क्रिएट करते हैं तो एक सप्लायर होगा जो आपकी डिमांड को फुलफिल करे, whether it is product, whether it is service. And for that, when we have shared about demand, law of demand, what we had shared, law of demand, that the price of the good increases and the quantity demanded decreases, keeping all other factors as constant. वो constant factors आपको पता है, that may be income of a consumer, taste and preference, maybe the price of related goods or substitute goods. Similarly, in supply also, we have defined law of supply. Law of supply says what? As the price of the good increases, the quantity supply increases, keeping all other factors as constant. So what are the factors which we keep constant in the case of supply? Maybe the technology is kept constant, maybe the factors of production are kept constant, isn't it? So maybe the tax norms and other factors which are kept constant. So these are the factors where the conditions are same. So all these factors we have taken as determinants of supply, which may affect the supply component. Now, before we talk about elasticity of supply, we have also shared about equilibrium. And equilibrium, when we had spoken about, we had discussed about the demand and supply. So demand is created by a consumer, and consumer always want to buy a product at a low price, more quantity. And the supplier always want to sell at high price and less quantity. And the equilibrium price is the price which is the optimum solution for both the players. So that means at an equilibrium price, the seller is not going to sell below that price, and the consumer is not going to buy above that price. That's the equilibrium price. Agar aap ek consumer hai, then you will buy at equilibrium price only. If you get less than that, definitely good for you. But you will not pay more than that because that is the price at which you have decided to buy the product. And reverse is true for the supply. Yes, this is what we have shared. And you understand the concept of producer surplus and consumer surplus with respect to equilibrium price. Today we will be talking about elasticity of supply. जैसे हमने elasticity of demand discuss किया था, उसी तरह से we will be talking today about elasticity of supply. Now, what is the core component of elasticity in the demand? What we have shared is about responsiveness. Response of a consumer with respect to change in the price. Because price elasticity of supply, अगर आप कहें, the price elasticity of supply will be, that is, percentage change in quantity supplied to percentage change in price. Price elasticity of supply. Or elasticity of supply basically means that producer, how the producer responds to change in price. So suppose, let's say that you are producing something, let's say, for example, you are producing cotton kurta, okay, a cotton kurta. So you are a producer of cotton kurta. And in that case, what is the price of the kurta decided? What are the factors which decides price of the kurta? The cotton cotton you are using, quality of cotton you are using, the machine which is weaving that cotton into thread, and from that the expertise labor force which is making that product, or the technology which you are using to make embroidery kurta or whatever it is about. So these are all inputs. Inputs are machine, input may be your basic raw material, whatever it is about. Supply is the core component for reaching the product to the consumer. But how much quantity you should supply? कितनी quantity आप supply करेंगे किस price पे? That is decided through elasticity of supply. Elasticity of supply, normally elasticity of supply is related to price. Okay? If the price will increase, because आपकी supply किस पे determine करती है? Price पे. So if the price of the good increases, will you be producing more? And if you produce more, will you be producing in the same proportion as increase in price, or will you be producing less in proportion to increase in price? So supplier के लिए सबसे important है price उसकी product का क्या है, isn't it? So price of the product or the service drives that producer to produce that product. अगर price नहीं होगी, high price or appropriate price, तो वो good नहीं produce करेंगे, isn't it? So the most important factor. So we are going to today discuss about elasticity. Elasticity means responsiveness. How a producer responds to change in price. Producer कैसे respond करता है with respect to change in price. This is what we are going to discuss today. Why price? Because higher the price, more the supply. Supply के लिए सबसे important factor क्या है? Price. अगर आपको अपने प्रोडक्ट की सर्विस की राइट प्राइस मिलेगी, तभी आप वो प्रोडक्ट और सर्विस मार्केट में लाओगे, अदरवाइज इट विल बी लॉस फॉर यू. सो प्राइस इज द ड्राइविंग फैक्टर फॉर अ प्रोड्यूसर टू प्रोड्यूस द गुड. नंबर वन. नंबर टू, प्राइस के चेंज होने से सप्लाई कैसे चेंज होती है, किस किस प्रपोर्शन में चेंज होती है, किस रेट पे चेंज होती है. दैट इज अबाउट इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ सप्लाई. एट व्हाट रेट supply of product changes with respect to change in the price. That is what we are going to discuss today in elasticity of supply. Okay. So we have what we have shared till now. We have shared last class about supply. What is supply? Meaning of supply. What supply means? Supply doesn't mean you have produced something and kept in your store. Is this supply? That is not supply. Supply will only be when it reaches to the market and the consumers can buy that product or service. Then only it is supply. So this is what we have shared. So आप as economics के student, आपको differentiate करना आना चाहिए कि supply क्या होती है और layman terms of supply. Number two, what are the factors which determine supply of the product? So is government offering subsidies? Is government imposing taxes? Are the competitors there in the market? How many competitors are there in the market? Are these competitors domestic competitors or international competitors? How much is the labor? How efficient labor is? How efficient capital is? What kind of technology are you using for production? And all those factors. Okay. So students, you have been told that you are not supposed to raise hand. You are not supposed to post anything on in Zoom. You have been shared the portal where you can share your queries. So no student will be entertained through chat, okay, or through any symbol if you share, okay. So do take care of that. Then law of supply. Law of supply is about what? Law of supply states that as the price of the good increases, the quantity supply increases, keeping all other factors as constant. बाकी constant factors कौन से हैं? Any component which affects the supply of the product. Okay, so this we have shared. Then we have shared movement along and the shift in the supply curve. What makes movement along the supply curve? The change in the price of the good, keeping all other factors as constant. So when we say expansion of the supply curve means what? The price will be higher. That will lead to more supply of the product, more quantity supply of the product. And contraction will be when the price of the good decreases. So when the price decreases, the producer is not getting incentive. अगर प्राइस कम हो जाएगा, आपके पास इंटेंसिव नहीं है, उस इंसेंटिव नहीं है उस गुड को प्रोड्यूस करने का, तो आप प्रोड्यूस नहीं करेंगे. ओके, सो दिस इज important to understand. So today what we are going to share is about elasticity of supply. Concept क्या है? What are the examples of this? How it is beneficial for firm to take benefit of supply, elasticity of supply. Okay, so all these things we'll share today. But you have to keep it in mind, the demand. Okay, demand you have to keep it in mind. जैसे हमने demand में elasticity share किया था, वैसे ही हम supply में share करेंगे. Okay, so what is elasticity of supply? If you can recap, it is the price elasticity of supply. Normally it is known as price elasticity of supply because you as a producer respond to quantity supplied is a function of price. Higher the price, more the quantity supplied. Okay, So when we talk about elasticity, we say that it measures to how much the quantity of a good or service supply is going to change. The percentage change in quantity supplied to percentage change in price. Okay, if the price of the good changes by 1%, if the price of the good changes by 1%, increases by 1%, is the quantity supplied increasing by more than 1%? Is it increasing less than 1%? If it is increasing by more than 1%, we say you are responding much to the change in price. If it is less than 1, that means you are not that responsive to the change in the price of the good. So there may be a number of factors. इसके बहुत सारे reasons हो सकते हैं. But if it is greater than 1, we say it is elastic supply. If it is less than 1, we say it is inelastic supply. And it depends on what? कि producer कैसे respond कर रहा है with respect to change in price. कितनी quantity supply करनी है market, good or services. Okay, so this is price elasticity of supply. Now, price elasticity of supply, when we say that how fast the producer is able to increase or decrease the production with change in price. Suppose you are manufacturing uncle chips or any lace chips, okay? So you are manufacturing lace chips. Now, if you find that consumer like to have chips, then you will increase the price. And once you increase the price and consumers still buy it, that means what will happen in that case? The consumers will be buying more products, isn't it? So this board of study, somebody has raised a hand or what? So this is about the factor. Okay, so for example, आपकी capacity है to increase supply as per the change. If you are using sophisticated technology, if you are using machines, then if the price will increase, will you be able to increase your production? Difficult होगा ना, because sophisticated machines में you cannot increase the supply as conveniently as per the price increase in the market. अगर आपका कोई छोटा project है, then in that case it becomes easy. So suppose you are producing pickle, okay, and the demand for pickle goes up and the price of the pickle goes up. So अगर उसका price बढ़ता जाएगा, then you will be supplying more and more quantity because आपके लिए easy है to make pickle, isn't it? But when you're going for sophisticated technology, it becomes a little bit difficult. So supply किस हद तक, किस extent तक बढ़ सकती है with respect to change in price is known as price elasticity of supply. Okay. So why is it important for you to understand this? Because अगर आपकी demand बढ़ रही है and proportionately supply नहीं बढ़ेगी, तो what will happen? If your demand is increasing and if the supply is not increasing, what will happen? We have shared equilibrium price. So suppose quantity demanded is more. Okay, so quantity, if I say quantity demanded is increasing and the quantity demanded increases at a faster pace and the demand increases from 10 units to 50 units. So the demand increases from 10 to 50 units and you are a supplier. If you cannot meet up to the demand of the consumers, what will happen? So suppose you produce only 30 units and the demand in the market has increased from 10 to 50 units. So the demand has increased by plus 40, but you are only able to produce plus 30 surplus. So there's a deficit of 10 units. What will happen? Prices will start increasing. Once the price will start increasing, you will be producing more and more. Okay. So if the producer cannot cope up with increasing demand, prices continues to rise as quantity cannot keep up. So अगर यहाँ पे quantity supply नहीं बढ़ाओगे आप, what will happen? The prices will shoot up beyond the point. So prices, to have uniform pricing, to have stable pricing, what is important is that अगर quantity demanded बढ़ रही है, उसी proportion में quantity supplied भी बढ़नी चाहिए so that the price remains close by same only. It should not increase beyond. Agar if prices goes up at a faster pace, what will happen? Everything will become expensive and consumers' purchasing power will decrease and this will make impact on the business also, and for you also as a consumer also, isn't it? So this is very important. That's why elasticity of supply को समझना बहुत जरूरी है आपके लिए. Okay. So क्या फैक्टर्स हैं जो प्राइस इलास्टिसिटी और सप्लाई को इम्पैक्ट करते हैं? व्हाट वी हैव शेयर्ड इज कि इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ सप्लाई होता क्या है. नंबर टू, इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ सप्लाई क्यों इंपॉर्टेंट है? बिकॉज इफ देयर इज if supplies are not going to increase as per the increase in the demand in the market, prices will go beyond reach. और उसकी वजह से कॉस्ट ऑफ लिविंग बढ़ जाएगा, एक्सपेंसेस बढ़ जाएंगे आपके, country will be suffering adversely, inflation बढ़ जाएगा. So it's very important to know about the price elasticity of supply. Okay. तो क्या factors हैं जो अफेक्ट करते हैं कि producer कितना supply करेगा? What are the factors which decides that how much the producer will increase its supply with the change in the price of the good? So for example, we say that number of producers. If there are many producers, suppose let's say that soap, okay, soap. So soap price goes up, okay. So soap ka price up chala gaya. If the price of soap goes up, then in that case, what will happen? If the number of producers are more, so if the number of producers are 15, 20, 30, and so on, more the number of producers, obviously they will be able to match up to this price. They'll start producing because all of them are producing, so they will be able to match up fast, isn't it? So what will happen in that case? The supply will be responding at a faster pace. That means supply will be elastic. Yes, because if the price is increasing and there are many producers, so they'll start supplying. So the supply will be meeting up as per the price. So that means you're responding, no? जैसे जैसे प्राइस बढ़ रहा है वैसे वैसे आप सप्लाई बढ़ाते जा रहे हो उसी proportion में. That means you are elastic in nature. So your supply is elastic. So more the number of producers, more elastic the supply would be. Spare capacity. Spare capacity means suppose you're a soap manufacturer and आपने सोचा मार्केट में डिमांड केवल 60 यूनिट्स की है. सो यू हैव प्रोड्यूस 60 यूनिट्स ऑफ सोप, बट आपकी कैपेसिटी है 100 यूनिट्स की. Okay, so your plant can manufacture 100 units of soap, but you have only manufactured 60 units of soap, considering that iski demand itni hi hai and the price at which we are able to sell, we will be selling only 60 units. Now suddenly the price of soap goes up. If the price of soap goes up from 60, you will be able to easily produce 100 units because you have the capacity to produce 100 units. आपकी capacity तो 100 units की थी, but आपने केवल 60 units produce करे थे because market में price उसका high quote नहीं हो रहा था. Now since the price is going up, so what will happen? You still have the capacity to produce. So how many surplus units? You will produce 40 units surplus here because आपकी capacity 100 है. So 60 plus 40 becomes 100. So you can, if you have a spare capacity, what will happen to elasticity? Your supply will be more price elastic. जैसे ही price बढ़ेगा, वैसे ही आप supply बढ़ा देंगे because आपके लिए easy है, because you still have the capacity to produce, isn't it? So if you have a spare capacity and the supply and the price increases, so you will go for increasing the supply. So price elasticity of supply will be higher. Ease of switching over. Suppose you are a manufacturer of soap and you can make shampoo also. Okay, so you can make soap and you can make shampoo also. So your company can make soap and can make shampoo also. So let's say that the demand for soap or the price for soap is increasing and shampoo price is decreasing. So what you can do, since it's your company and you can produce both, you can easily switch over from shampoo to soap. If you can switch over easily from shampoo to soap, because the demand and the price of soap is going up, then what will happen? आपके लिए easy होगा ना. अगर price बढ़ गया तो you will be producing more of soap and you will be producing less of shampoo because you are having two business together and these business where you can deploy resources. जो shampoo में resources लगे थे वो उसको आप soap में लगा देंगे, so you can produce more. If this switching shampoo to soap switching is easy, you can, how fast you can move your resources from shampoo production to soap production, that will decide elasticity. जितना faster आप shampoo की production से soap की production पे switch over हो जाएंगे, that will be the level of elastic. highly elastic. अगर difficult है switch over होना, then in that case it will be inelastic. So elasticity depends on the factors, for example, number of producers, the spare capacity, and ease of switching. Ease of storage. Ease of storage basically means what? Suppose आपने 100 units produce कर लिए. You have produced 100 units and you have kept it in your storage. So you have enough storage facility. So you have godowns and other things where you can store. Okay, so you have produced 100 units and you have stored in your godown. Now let's say that demand in the market is only of 60 units. So 60 units you will be able to sell. 60 units you will be able to sell. And as the price will rise, you will have option to go for releasing from storage. जो आपके स्टोरेज में है ऑलरेडी आपके पास, जिसमें आपने स्टोर कर लिया, उसमें से आप रिलीज करके मार्केट में ले आओगे. अगर आपके पास स्टोरेज फैसिलिटी नहीं है, इफ यू डू नॉट हैव इनफ स्टोरेज फैसिलिटी, व्हाट विल हैपन? देन यू हैव टू प्रोड्यूस. नो, आज डिमांड बढ़ गई है, प्राइस बढ़ गई है, लेट्स गो फॉर प्रोड्यूसिंग इट टुडे. देन यू हैव टू प्रोड्यूस. एंड इन दैट केस व्हाट विल हैपन? इन दैट केस, इफ यू प्रोड्यूस इन दैट केस, उस केस में अगर आप प्रोडक्शन करेंगे तो आपके लिए उसी पेस में आप प्रोडक्शन नहीं कर सकते ना. यू कैन नॉट प्रोड्यूस at the same pace. So that means it will become difficult for you to match up. So if you have enough storage, then the elasticity, price elasticity, अगर आपके पास storage है, तो price elasticity क्या होगा? Will be greater than 1. If you do not have enough storage, then the price elasticity will be less than 1. Okay. So this is the factor which depends upon कि कितनी fast pace पे आप respond कर सकते हैं. Then length of production period. Suppose you are manufacturer of aircraft, and the price of aircraft increases. Then in that case, will it be possible for you to produce aircraft so easily? जैसे price बढ़ा वैसे produce कर दिया, you cannot produce now. So you cannot produce. So in that case, sir, ये हिमांशु को block कर दीजिए. Sir, I'm removing this person, Himanshu. So length of the production period, longer the production period, elasticity will be less or high? Elasticity will be less than 1. Yes, price elasticity will be less. No, अगर आपका production process period लंबा है, if you are producing something which requires huge capital, तो price के साथ में आप इतना fast respond नहीं कर पाएंगे. जैसे price change होगा उस pace पे आप respond नहीं कर पाएंगे. So the demand, price elasticity of supply will be inelastic. You will not be able to respond in the same manner. हो सकता है long term में आप respond कर पाए, but short term में it will not be possible for you to respond to the change in the price because your length of production period is very long. So this is how it makes difference. Factor mobility. Factor mobility is what? You can switch the factors of production. Spare capacity. Partial spare capacity basically means कि आपके पास प्रोडक्शन कैपेसिटी है, आप प्रोड्यूस कर सकते हो 100 यूनिट्स ऑफ गुड, बट मार्केट में जब आपने देखा डिमांड 60 यूनिट्स की है, तो आपने केवल 60 यूनिट्स प्रोड्यूस किए, तो ये ओनली प्रोड्यूस 60 यूनिट्स ऑफ गुड. नाउ लेट्स से टुडे ऑन 8 let's say on 5th of October the demand of soap was only 60 units. तो आपने 60 यूनिट्स बनाए बिकॉज आपको पता है कि डिमांड इसकी 60 यूनिट्स ही है. बट इफ टुडे ऑन 8th of October प्राइस बढ़ गया सोप का बिकॉज डिमांड ज्यादा है, सप्लाई कम है, सो प्राइस ऑफ सोप गोज अप एंड दैट मींस पीपल नीड सोप. सो व्हाट विल यू डू? आपके पास कैपेसिटी तो है 100 यूनिट्स की प्रोड्यूस करने की, बट आपने केवल प्रोड्यूस कितने किए हैं? 60 यूनिट्स. सो यू कैन प्रोड्यूस 40 यूनिट्स सरप्लस. सो यू प्रोड्यूस 40 यूनिट्स सरप्लस. दैट मींस आप चेंज इन प्राइस को फास्टर वे में रिस्पॉन्ड कर रहे हैं. सो इफ यू आर रिस्पॉन्डिंग टू द चेंज इन प्राइस, दैट मींस योर प्राइस इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ सप्लाई विल बी मोर इलास्टिक. अगर आपके पास स्टोरेज कैपेसिटी है, अगर आपके पास स्पेयर कैपेसिटी है, आपके पास स्टोरेज कैपेसिटी है, then in that case the price elasticity of supply will be more elastic as compared to जो ऑलरेडी फुल ऑप्टिमम लेवल पे प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं, दोज आर प्रोड्यूसिंग, सपोज आपकी कैपेसिटी 60 यूनिट्स है, नाउ इफ द प्राइस गोज अप, विल यू बी एबल टू इंक्रीज द प्रोडक्शन? 60 से बढ़ा पाएंगे? आप नहीं बढ़ा पाएंगे, बिकॉज आपने अपनी कैपेसिटी फुल्ली यूटिलाइज कर ली है, एफिशिएंटली यूटिलाइज कर ली है, सो यू कैन नॉट गो फॉर इंक्रीजिंग बियॉन्ड दैट. Okay, so this is how it works. Then what is factor mobility? Factor mobility means what? See, किसी भी production में you require labor and capital. Yes, so you require labor. कुछ production process होते हैं जिसमें कि आपको more labor intensive technique use करना है. Some are more capital intensive. So these are factors of production. Okay, one is that if the demand, if the supply, for example, supply increases in the market, but the price is increasing, and आपको उसकी product की supply बढ़ानी है. And if you want to increase the supply in this case, so what will happen? आपको ज्यादा labor चाहिए. And suppose you are working in Delhi and you do not have enough labor. और आपके लिए easy है कि आप हरियाणा से बाकी जगह से labor you can get easily. So if you can get labor easily from others close by cities of Delhi, then in that case what will happen? You, if the price is increasing, आपको supply increase करनी है, आपको easily labor मिल गया, that means you can increase the supply. That means you will be responding at a faster pace to the increase in price. So that means your price elasticity will be more elastic. Factor mobility. अगर factor immobile है, you cannot get more labor. You cannot get like you cannot have labor. You cannot have capital. Then in that case, what will happen? Price बढ़ने के साथ आप supply नहीं बढ़ा पाएंगे. You will not be able to increase supply. So what will happen in that case? Elasticity will be less. So अगर factor mobile है, so if the factors are mobile, then you can go for switching over from one to the other. जिसकी product की price बढ़ गई, उसमें factors को switch over कर दो, and that means you can increase the supply. If the factors are not mobile, then you cannot go for increasing the supply. So elasticity will be higher where the factors are more mobile, and where the factors are less mobile, elasticity will be less. Okay. शाश्वत, ये वार्निंग है आपके लिए, अगर आप नहीं बिहेव करोगे तो यू विल बी थ्रोन आउट ऑफ द क्लास. आई डोंट वांट एनी न्यूसेंस इन द क्लास. So this is the last warning. If you are not going to behave, I'll remove you from the classroom. So elasticity of supply, when we talk about elasticity of supply here, what will happen in this case? So कैसे calculate कर सकते हो आप elasticity of supply? So how we can calculate? जैसे हम demand में किया था. Yes, similarly we can calculate here elasticity of supply. Let's say that the price of the commodity increases from 2000 per unit to 2100. So price increase कितना हो गया? 100. So the price increases by 100 rupees. Okay. And the quantity supply rises from 2500 to 3000. So the quantity supply has increased from 25 to 3000. That means quantity कितना change हो गया? 500 units. So change in quantity is 500 units. Change in price is 100 units. How do we calculate price elasticity? जैसे हमने demand elasticity calculate किया था, वैसे we can calculate price elasticity. So the price elasticity will be percentage change in quantity supplied to percentage change in price equivalent. What is percentage change in quantity supplied to percentage change in prices? Delta QS by Q into delta P0 by P1. Yes, so this is how we have done. So just this change in quantity to change in price. This is change in price. Change in quantity demanded to change in price. P0 to QS. Okay, so this is how we do. So for example, we see here, what is the change in the quantity? Change in the quantity is 500 units and change in price is 100. So, and initial price is 2000 and the quantity is 2500. आप इसमें substitute करो. Change in quantity is how much? Change in quantity is 500. Change in price is how much? 100. Initial price is how much? 2000. Initial quantity is how much? 2500. Once you calculate this, you will get the price elasticity as 4. if the value of price elasticity is greater than 1, we say it is elastic. So since the value is greater than 1, we'll say this is elastic supply. What it means, elastic supply? Elastic supply means if its price goes up by 1%, if price increase by 1%, the quantity supply will definitely increase by greater than 1%. Okay, so quantity supply will increase by greater than 1%. Okay, so this is how it works for elasticity of supply. Absolutely. Okay, so categories of price elasticity. You can have perfectly elastic supply, you can have elastic supply, you can have inelastic supply. Okay, so you can have elastic supply, you can have perfectly elastic supply, you can have unitary elastic supply, you can have inelastic supply and perfectly, जैसे हमने डिमांड में किया था उसी तरह से इसमें भी elasticity change होगी. So perfectly elastic supply means what? Perfectly elastic supply, अगर सपोज 1% भी प्राइस चेंज होगा तो इनफाइनाइट quantity supply change हो जाएगा, infinite quantity supply. Okay, that is perfectly elastic. Elastic means agar price will increase by 1%, quantity supply will increase by more than 1%. That is elastic. अभी हम share करेंगे इसके graphs and all examples. Okay, so we will be sharing that. Unitary elastic will be the percentage change in price is equal to the percentage change in quantity supplied is equal to percentage change in price. Okay, then inelastic means अगर price बढ़ भी रहा है, then in that case you will be increasing quantity supply by only by some quantity, only by some percentage. Okay, not if suppose the price increase by 1%, quantity supplied will not increase by 1%. It will definitely increase by less than 1%. Okay, then the next is perfectly inelastic. Perfectly inelastic means what? Perfectly inelastic, आप price बढ़ाओ or whatever you do, we will not change the supply. We will not change supply. Okay, so that is perfectly inelastic. So if you look at this graph here, what is it depicts about? It depicts about perfectly elastic. What does, why we say this is the price elasticity is equal to 0? Because price आप देख रहे हो, price is increasing from OP to OP1. So let's say this price here is 100 rupees and the price goes up to 200 rupees. So this is the price is increasing from 100 to 200 rupees. Ideally, what should happen? Ideally, what should happen? Quantity supplied should increase, no? Quantity supplied should increase. But in this case, if you are producing 100 units, you are still producing 100 units despite the price increasing from 100 to 200. Price बढ़ने के बाद भी 100 से 200 quantity supplied आपकी same है. That means price elasticity of supply will be 0. When will it happen? When is it going to happen? किस केस में ऐसा होगा कि आप प्राइस बढ़ने के बाद भी आप सप्लाई नहीं बढ़ा पा रहे हो? May be possible that the resources which you are using to produce that good is you cannot go for using those resources to produce surplus output in such a short period of time. Maybe आपने अपनी full capacity, you are working at your full capacity, you do not have idle capacity to go for producing further. Maybe you do not have enough storage where you can store and go for matching up. So perfectly elastic, inelastic supply means you will not be responding to the change in the price because आप increase नहीं कर सकते supply as the change in the price of the good. Okay, so this is how you can understand. Okay, so the next elasticity, perfectly elastic, you got it. Perfectly inelastic क्या होता है? Okay. So the next concept we are sharing is inelastic supply. Inelastic supply. Inelastic supply. Inelastic supply means what? In this case, you see, that if Ajit sir,
Yeah.
आप देख सकते हैं ना ये some students are posting emoji and other things. So I'm just putting them in waiting room and आप इंश्योर कर लीजिएगा कि ये बच्चे जेन्युइन बच्चे हैं बिकॉज ये लोग इमोजी भेज रहे हैं.
कौन कौन है ये?
एक कनिका थी, शुभम था, ये अमित है, अमित वाघमारे. आप आपको स्क्रीन पे दिख रहा होगा.
नहीं मैम, हमें कुछ नहीं को हमारे
तो
पास होता तब तक हम उनको रिमूव कर चुके होते।
तो मैं इनको वेटिंग रूम में डाल रही हूँ जो बच्चे
आप,
मिसबिहेव कर.
हाँ, आप उनको वेटिंग रूम में डाल दीजिए, अदरवाइज आप भी उनको रिमूव कर सकते हैं।
हाँ तो मैं रिमूव करती जाऊंगी जो बच्चे कुछ भी न्यूसेंस क्रिएट
या
करें.
मैम, या मैम, या मैम,
ओके.
आप उनको रिमूव कर दीजिए।
हाँ. ओके. सो inelastic supply, when we talk about inelastic supply, what will happen in the case of inelastic supply? You see the price change here. Price delta P. Delta P is change in the price and delta Q is change in the delta Q. Delta Q is change in the quantity. So delta Q is change in the quantity. You can see here the change in the price and the change in quantity. Is it same? Is it same? आप देखो change in price is greater and change in quantity is less. That means अगर price 10% से बढ़ गया, if the price increases by 10%, the quantity supply is increasing by 7%, but definitely less than 10%. बढ़ तो रहा है quantity supply, but it is increasing by less than 10% or less than this, whatever is the percentage here is less than that. Why is it so? So that आप देखो यहाँ पे डेल्टा पी delta P is greater than delta Q, isn't it? So, किस केस में ये होगा? When will you see this kind of a scenario that it is ES is less elastic? कब होगा ये? जब factor mobility नहीं होगी, isn't it? आप आपके कुछ factors of production है which are used in the production process, and now since the price has gone up by 10%, you do not have that much factor mobility कि आप अपने factors resources को किसी project B से deploy करके A में deploy कर. You do not have those many resources to deploy your resources from B to A so that you can meet up to the price. So sometimes it happens that the price is increasing at a faster pace, supply cannot be increased. For example, I say that hospitals, in hospital, the service charges are increasing. Hospitals are becoming more expensive, isn't it? So hospital में जो services हैं ज़्यादा expensive हो रही है, but उसके accordingly hospitals बन जाएंगे. Is it possible to make hospitals in the same proportion as this price of hospital services are increasing? Not possible, no? Because hospital banane mein time lagta hai, but prices can shoot up at a faster pace. So it will be inelastic. So where the production line may be longer, where the mobility of resources will not be enough, that will make the supply inelastic. I'll try to discuss some MCQs. Okay. So elastic supply. Elastic supply is about what? Elastic supply. When we talk about elastic supply is that if the price changes, if the percentage change in the price or the increase in the price is by 10% and the percentage change in quantity supplied increases by 12%. So percentage change in price is by 10% and the percentage change in quantity supplied is by 12%. That means you are responding more to the change in the price. When it will be possible? When it will be easy for you to produce, when you have idle capacity, when you have storage capacity, when you have factor mobility, when you have many producers in that market. So in that case, what will happen? It will be elastic for you. जैसे price बढ़ा, उसके proportionate पे quantity supply will increase more. So elastic supply. Okay, so elastic supply, what you see here is reverse of inelastic. Inelastic में आपने क्या देखा था? Delta P was greater than delta Q. But in this case, what do you see in elastic? In elastic, delta P is less than delta Q. Yes, so you can see here. Okay, so you can go for this quantity supplied here. In this case, it is elastic because price कम बढ़ रहा है, quantity supplied ज़्यादा rate से change हो रहा है. An example for this can be small units which are manufacturing, like let's say that companies which are manufacturing masks, okay, companies which are manufacturing candles, उनके लिए प्राइस इंक्रीज होने के साथ में क्वांटिटी सप्लाई बढ़ाना विल बी मोर इजी. Okay, so this is how it works, elastic supply. Unit elastic supply. What is unit elastic supply? Unit elastic supply means as the price is increasing, suppose price increases by 10%. If the price increases by 10%, then the quantity supplied will also increase by 10%. This is unit elastic. When it be possible for you to go for increasing the quantity supply? जब आपके पास इतने रिसोर्सेज होंगे कि जैसी प्राइस बड़ी क्वांटिटी सप्लाई बढ़ा दे, प्रोडक्शन पीरियड शॉर्ट होगा, will be very short so that you can produce easily. For example, I say that Saturdays and Sundays, if you go to a particular market, the prices are normally higher. And that is why what happens? Saturday, Sunday, vendors who are there, will be many vendors who will be selling. Saturday, Sunday, अगर आप किसी मार्केट में जाएंगे तो आप वहां देखेंगे बहुत सारे vendors sell कर रहे हैं. Yes? So many vendors will be selling over there, and you can go for this price supply will be, elasticity of supply will be more unit elastic. Okay, so this is how. So percentage change it, कितना easily आप supply को बढ़ा सकते हैं with the change in price is elasticity. And you should connect that supply कब बढ़ा सकते हैं आप, जबकि ease हो, production की ease हो. And when will be it easy to produce? When you are producing on a small scale. जितना लार्ज स्केल पे प्रोडक्शन होगा उतना डिफिकल्ट आपके लिए सप्लाई को इंक्रीज करना होगा विद रिस्पेक्ट टू चेंज इन प्राइस. द मोर एक्सपर्टाइज यू रिक्वायर फॉर ऑफ पीपल, जितना डिफिकल्ट स्किल होगा, जितना डिफिकल्ट कॉम्पिटेंसी होगी, उस केस में उतना प्रोडक्शन डिफिकल्ट होगा टू इंक्रीज विद द चेंज इन द प्राइस. सो export unit can increase the supply with the change in the price of the export price of their goods. अगर उनके पास storage है, or if they have capacity to increase their production at a faster pace, then only it will be elastic or inelastic. Perfectly elastic supply. Perfectly elastic supply means what? You're not responding to the change in price. Are you responding? But the moment the price goes below this, let's say the price quoted here is so let's say that the price quoted here is 100 rupees. Okay, so if the price quoted is 100 rupees, then in that case, what will happen? You will be ready to supply 100 units, 200 units, 300 units, 500 units, and so on. Because at this price, you can supply any quantity. Okay, but the moment the price goes to 80 rupees, 99 rupees, 99.9 rupees, 99.999 rupees, you will not supply. This is price elastic supply, perfectly elastic supply. At a specific price only, you will go for supplying infinite quantity of the product, okay? Infinite quantity of the product. The quantity supplied in that case will be infinite. which case it will be possible? जब आप एक ही कैटेगरी के प्रोडक्ट स्केल पे बनाते हो, बहुत सारा बनाते हो, प्रोडक्शन करते हो, then it becomes easy that at a specific price only will supply ample amount of the good. Otherwise, the price, if it goes by minutely less than what you're quoting, then the good will not be supplied in the market. Okay? The perfectly elastic supply. Now, what we have shared till now, हमने अलग-अलग curve share किया to depict about elasticity of supply. That was to make you understand. आपको समझने के लिए हर curve में आपको different elasticity देखा, हर curve में. When it was higher, when it was less, when it was unit, when it is elastic, when it is inelastic, when it is perfectly elastic, when it is perfectly elastic, and so and so. Okay, so that we had shared, but आप imagine करो, Kaushal, price elasticity supply of gold will be inelastic. Reason being, gold ऐसी चीज है जो आप इसको बहुत easily produce नहीं कर सकते. So it is inelastic. Okay, so supply curve of industry with. So now we'll talk about production capacity. Now, if you look at the production capacity, एक ये supply curve है. Let's say एक ये firm है. This is a firm X. Okay, this is a firm X, which the supply curve of that firm X is shown here. Now, if you see in this X supply firm X supply curve, what do you see at this point? Let's say this is point A. This is point B. This is point C, and this is point B. Okay, so if you are at point A and the price increases from, let's say, rupees 10 to rupees 12. If the price increases from rupees 10 to 12, from P1 to P2, the quantity will change. Quantity will increase from 10 units to 40 units. So the quantity will increase from 10 units to 40 units. That means with this minor change in price, you're responding more. That means here the price elasticity of supply is greater than 1. क्यों? Because आपके पास capacity unutilized है. जैसे ही price बढ़ा, आपने production बढ़ा दिया, and you can increase the quantity supplied because of increase in price. So you're responding more. So it is easy for you to respond when you have unutilized or the excess capacity yet to be utilized. So this will increase. So the supply will be elastic. But as you go up and up, and here you're increasing your production. So let's say now you have produced at Q3, you have produced 80 units. At Q3, you have produced 80 units. So since you have produced 80 units, now the price here from 30 rupees goes up to, price from 30 rupees goes up to 35 rupees. If the price increases from 30 to 35 rupees, you should increase more, no? From 80 to 120, 140. But in this case, how much you will increase? You will increase from 80 to 100. Why so 100? Because Q4 is 100. Why from 80 to 100 only when the price is increasing from 30 to 35? Reason being here at point D, you have fully utilized your capacity. Okay, so full utilization of your resources. No factor mobility. Or maybe less factor mobility. And you do not have storage also. You do not have enough storage. So storage facility is not there beyond this. We are talking at point D. At point D पे आपके पास और storage facility भी नहीं है. आपने resources fully utilize कर लिए हैं. आपके factors transfer भी नहीं हो सकते हैं. Number of suppliers जो है market में limited है. So what will happen in that case? आप इसके beyond increase ही नहीं कर सकते production because you do not have capacity until unless you go for new plant, new machines, new technology, more people. So that will take time. But the price here has risen within a short period of time. इसीलिए आपका production यहाँ पे कितना बढ़ेगा? From 80 to 100. So here it is EP is price elasticity is less than 1. Why so? Because here The resources are very less in number which can be used for further production process. यहाँ पे आपके पास बहुत सारे resources हैं क्योंकि आप अभी अपनी full capacity 100 units में produce नहीं कर रहे हैं. Here, how much you are producing? You are only producing 10 units. जैसे price बढ़ा, you can go to 40 units. And if you produce 60 units with the respective increase in price, and here the price goes up by 30 to 35, आपको ideally production 60 से 80 से, in this case, you should have gone from, this is 40, 60, and this is 80. Q3 is 80, and this Q4 is 100. तो ideally, अगर ये 30 से 35 बढ़ा, तो आपको 120 produce करना चाहिए. But you cannot produce 120 because आपकी capacity जो plant की है, that is only up to 100. So you can only produce up to 100. You cannot go for producing beyond 100. So that is okay. So Anshul will share how to revise concepts in economics daily. Okay, so this is clear to all of you. कि supply curve जो है industry की एक point पर elastic हो सकती है और inelastic हो सकती है और दूसरे point पे elastic हो सकती है. It depends on the production capacity. These are the points which makes difference here. So what we have shared, this one. अगर number of producers ज़्यादा होंगे, if you have more number of producers, then the supply will be more elastic. If you have more spare capacity, then the supply will be elastic. If you have ease of switching over from A product to B product, then it will be elastic. अगर आप switch over नहीं कर सकते, then it will be inelastic. Ease of storage. If you have enough storage facility or you can easily store surplus, then you will have elastic. अगर नहीं है आपके पास option, तो it will be inelastic. Length of production period shorter होगा, then it will be elastic. Longer होगा, then it will be inelastic. Factor mobility. So उसी के basis पे we have drawn this supply curve of the industry. So अगर आपको supply curve दिया question में, if they give you, if in the exam you get the supply curve, and then the question is about, you explain that why A to B is inelastic supply and why C to D is elastic in supply. And what is meant by elastic supply and what is meant by inelastic supply. So you should be able to answer this by quoting due reasoning for this. कि क्या reason है इसका, जिसकी वजह से. So they'll give you options, different options will be given. जब तक आपको concept नहीं पता है, you will not be able to select the right option. So it's very important to understand that from A to B, why the supply is inelastic, and from C to D, why the supply is elastic in nature. So supply elasticity, what are the factors which governs about the elasticity? That you should know about that. Okay. So we'll talk about the measurement of elasticity of supply. कि आप कैसे measure कर सकते हो? If numericals are there, then they'll give you the values and then they'll tell you that what is the final value. जब तक आपको कैलकुलेशन नहीं आएगा, आप फाइनल वैल्यू कैलकुलेट करके नहीं बता सकते कि करेक्ट आंसर क्या. So if numericals are given in your course study material, don't think that it is MCQ. उसका आपको क्या benefit होगा? Because if you do not know how to calculate it, then how will you draw? How will you come to the conclusion कि कौन सा right answer है, कौन सी value आएगी? So numericals की practice कीजिए, okay? Practice numerical so that you know about. Because over there it's a matter of time, isn't it? So जितना जल्दी आप न्यूमेरिकल करने की प्रैक्टिस करेंगे, जितना आपकी कॉम्पिटेंसी आएगी, उतना इजी आपको मैच करने में होगा आंसर्स. दैट will become easy for you to match your answers very easily and correct answers also at the same. Yes. So we will be taking break for 5 minutes and then we'll join again. Okay. Ajit sir. industry and the production capacity as well as the supply curve, elasticity of supply. Okay. Now, how to calculate elasticity of supply? It's the same concept as we had shared prior for the demand, same as for the supply. Okay, so when we talk about supply here, elasticity of supply, suppose they have given you this elasticity of supply का ये आपको equation दिया है. Okay, if this is the equation given to you, that is Q is equal to minus 100 plus 10p. What it means? It means that plus sign means if the price increases by 1 rupee, 1 into 10, quantity demanded, quantity supplied will increase by 10. Yes. So this is the positive sign. So as the price increases, quantity supplied increases. So this is about the quantity supplied equation. What does this 100 means? 100 is a constant. अगर ये P 0 होता तब भी ये value 100 रहती. Okay. So now they are asking you, this is the supply function they have given you. ये आपको quantity supplied का function दिया. Find the elasticity of supply using the price elasticity, point elasticity method. So what is given to you? Initial price is given 50. Okay. Initial price is given 15. आप यहाँ substitute कर दो 15. So this quantity supplied will be equal to minus 100 plus 10 into 15. Because P कितना है 15. So this will become 150. Okay. This becomes minus 100 plus 150. This becomes how much? 50. So आपके पास quantity supplied कितनी हो गई? 50. So you have got quantity supplied as 50. And you have given here. So this change in the quantity supplied, this is what, this 10 is what? ये जो 10 है, this is delta Q by delta P. Slope है. Okay. So this 10 is what? Delta Q by delta P. This P is what? P0. Yes. And what is this QS? This QS is Q0. Yes. So you have now, so you know the formula of elasticity, delta Q by delta P into P0 by QS is price elasticity or elasticity of supply. Delta Q by delta P is what? 10. Because this is delta Q by delta P. This is slope. Okay. What is slope? So if suppose this is the demand curve, sorry, this is the supply curve. So the supply curve, this is 10. 10 means change in quantity supplied, this change in quantity supplied, and this is change in price. Okay. So this is, so you have been given slope, this you have given, and you already have been given price. आपको price दी हुई है 15 rupees. So you substitute price, quantity supplied आपने calculate कर लिया 50. You substitute the values here. So you will get 10. ES is what? 10 because delta Q by delta P is 10. ये आपको दिया equation में 10 into 15. They have given you P0 as 15. Quantity supplied आपने calculate कर लिया 50. So this will come equal to 3. So price elasticity of supply will be 3. So this, so you can find out if they give you some equation and फिर आपको answers में option दे देंगे कि elasticity of supply कितनी है, 3, 2, 1, 0, whatever it is. Then you should know how to calculate. आपको पता होना चाहिए कैसे calculate करेंगे ताकि आपको final answer मिल जाए. So it's very important for you to understand the speculation of its supply elasticity. Chaitanya, go slow. Speculation. Okay, speculation we will be sharing. If people go for more of, I'll share that. Don't worry, Chaitanya, we'll share. Okay, so measurement of supply elasticity is clear. So आपको एक quantity supplied का equation दे दिया. They have given you quantity supplied equation. In this quantity supplied equation, minus 100 is constant, which is not going to change. Okay, 10 is what? 10 is slope. Slope is what? Change in quantity supplied to change in price. आपको elasticity, price elasticity of supply का formula पता है. What is it? Change in quantity supplied to change in price. And this is P0 by Q0. So if you substitute in this, the values, this is 10. This P0 is given to you in the question. ये आपने calculate कर लिया. Once you have this, then you can get elasticity. So what I mean to say is that if this equation is given, and then they ask you, बस ये equation दे दिया, ये value दे दिया, and then the options are given. ES is 2, ES is 3, ES is 0, ES is 1. तो आप कैसे find out करोगे जब तक आप calculate नहीं करोगे? Until unless you calculate this, how will you say that ES is 3? Okay, so there are not shortcuts for this. So you should know the complete formula, how to solve it, so that you can get the right answer. Okay, so numericals are very, very important to understand so that you can calculate the correct answer with the help of that. So arc elasticity, point elasticity is what? Point elasticity is, let me show. So let's say this is the supply curve. This is the price of the good, and this is the quantity supply. Okay, this is the, so if I say that the price is 10 rupees, and now the price goes to 12 rupees. This is the quantity, which was initially 8 units. Now the quantity supplied is, let's say, 12 units. Okay, so when I say that when you move from point A to point B, that is arc elasticity over this, in this range, A to B range, what is the change in elasticity? That is arc. Okay, and when you calculate at point A or at point B, that is point elasticity. What is the formula of point elasticity? Point elasticity is ES is equal to delta Q by delta P. This is quantity supply into P0 by QS. This QS is Q0, initial quantity supply. This is point elasticity. Arc elasticity is what? We take average, the way we had done in demand arc elasticity. So what, this is quantity supply. This is increase in the quantity. This is initial quantity. This is increase in quantity. So we'll take average. Arc elasticity. How do we calculate arc elasticity? Formula kya hai arc elasticity ka? Arc elasticity is Q2, new quantity supply to the initial quantity, upon Q2 plus Q1 into P2 plus P1 and P2 minus P1. This is the formula for arc elasticity. In this case, they have given you, you have to find out elasticity of supply when P1 is 12, P2 is 15, Q1 is 20, and Q2 is 50. Q2 is 50. Okay, so they have given you Q2 as 50, Q1 as 20. You substitute here. What is Q1? Q1 is 20. What is Q2? 50. 50 minus 20, 50 plus 20. What is P2? P2 is 15. P1 is 12. Substitute कीजिए. Once you substitute here, 50 minus 20 is 30. 50 plus 20 is 70. 15 plus 12 is 27. And 15 minus 12 is 3. If you will solve it, you will get 3.85. That means price elasticity of supply is greater than 1. It means it is elastic in nature. Yes, so elasticity, how to calculate price elasticity, that you should know about. How to calculate the price elasticity. This is the formula you can use to calculate. अगर आपको point elasticity से calculate करना है तो उसका आंसर थोड़ा different आएगा as compared to arc elasticity. Because here we take average. Okay, so elasticity from both the methods, you will get a little bit different answer because of the formula we are using here. So we have already shared the determinants of elasticity of supply. Basically, elasticity of supply. No, I have to upload this topic what we are sharing today. Rest I have uploaded. Okay, so the price elasticity of supply here depends on what? Flexibility. How flexible the seller are. जैसे हमने demand में बात की थी, how flexible the consumer is. Okay, flexible the seller is to change the amount to be supplied in the market, or the good or the produce they produce and sell. किस quantity में वो production अपना change कर सकते हैं with respect to change the price. How flexible the seller is. Okay, the more easily the seller can change the quantity supplied as per the or produce as per the price, that means more elastic they are, otherwise they are less elastic. Okay, so this we have shared. Now, this is about the relationship. For example, we say that increase in cost. Okay, so agar cost of production बढ़ता है, if the cost increase, there's substantial increase in cost. If you increase the supply, of your good, suppose you are producing 100 units and you produce 200 units, and here the cost is, let's say, the total cost of production is, let's say, 50, and the total cost of production increases to 100. That means, or maybe 150. So once the production cost is substantial, cost is involved in increasing the production, then in that case, price elasticity will be inelastic. Yes, because you have to spend more money for more production. So that is why you will not respond, you will not be so flexible in terms of responding to the change in price. So here EP will be, ES will be less elastic or inelastic. जितनी ज्यादा कॉस्ट होगी प्रोडक्शन प्रोसेस में, उतनी ज्यादा सप्लाई इनलास्टिक होगी. Higher the cost factor in the production process. That's why companies which are in aviation, banks, other companies which have to spend more money for the production process, they will be in that case not able to produce as the price is increasing. Sir, this girl Madhu wants to join. Ajit sir,
Yeah, ma'am.
this girl Madhu wants to join. She's saying I'm not able to join Zoom.
Okay, ma'am. Just a minute.
Madhu Namdev.
Ma'am, actually, we have locked the meeting because someone is disturbing the class.
Yeah. So
That's
you
why
can
we
see,
have locked the meeting.
you just see this girl is a genuine or not. Accordingly, we allow.
1 second, ma'am. 1 second.
He has dropped a message portal.
Yeah, ma'am. We have unlocked the meeting. Then Annie can join the meeting.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. So negligible increase in the cost with the increase in production. If a company can produce easily, the cost is not going to increase substantially. Then in that case, it will be elastic, no? So if you can go for I believe because of this, somebody has again started creating mischief. आप लॉक ही कर दीजिए सर.
Ma'am, this is a trick. That's why we have locked the meeting.
हाँ, that's better. Okay. So negligible increase in cost with increase in the production. अगर आपकी cost minorly increase होती है, then in that case it is easy for you to produce, no? For example, I say tikki wala selling tikki, and the demand goes up and the price is also going up because people are liking tikki made by that tikki wala. What will happen? The fellow can produce more tikkis because it's easy for him to produce more tikkis, easily get potatoes and then make tikkis. So what will be the elasticity of supply? Will be more elastic. The fellow will respond more to the change in the price. Okay, so negligible increase in cost. अगर आपकी cost minutely बढ़ती है, then in that case in production process, your price elasticity will be greater than 1. If it is substantial increase in the cost, then it will be inelastic. Okay, complex production process. If the production process is complex, then and the longer is the time period, then ES will be inelastic. जितना complex होगा production process, there are 10 or 12 steps involved in the production process for each production process, and each step is very complex. then what will happen in that case? So for example, companies making medicines. Okay, so medicine making for a diabetic patient making medicine, or during COVID they have made medicine. So, or for malaria medicine or any other medicine for any uh, disease which is like a chronic disease. And some pharma company has made some, किसी pharma company ने एक medicine बनाया और उसका price बढ़ गया. If the price goes up, will it be possible that for pharma company to produce more? Because it's very difficult to produce no more quantity, because you have a defined capacity to produce that drug or medicine which you are producing, and it is a very complex process. So आप इतना easily production बढ़ा नहीं सकते जैसे जैसे price बढ़ता जा रहा है. So that means the more complex the production process, longer the time period, inelastic the supply would be. So for example, aircrafts hai, cars hai. So the car price increases. For example, I say that today is a world of electric vehicles, isn't it? So electric vehicles, when the companies were producing uh, petrol cars, and suddenly the price of electric vehicles increased because government said that we go for more electric vehicles. Petrol vehicles are not good for like it leads to more pollution, not good for the environment and other. So electric vehicles की demand बढ़ गई, so the prices went up. But will it be possible for the petrol manufacturing firm, automobile companies, those which are producing petrol cars, to switch over to electric cars? Not possible, na? Factor mobility नहीं है, resources नहीं है, complex production process है, longer time period है, so it becomes difficult. Oil companies which are extracting oil, coal companies which are extracting coal to produce the for the power generation. Can they increase the price? Can they increase the supply as they increase in the price? They cannot. So their supply will be inelastic. So आपको examples आने चाहिए समझ में कि कौन सा example किस firm में price elastic होगा, किस में नहीं होगा supply elastic. Okay. So what we have shared, longer the time period, more elastic. अगर आपके पास time period lamba hai, you have a long time period to increase the production process, then in that case, obviously supply will be elastic. But a farmer who's producing tomatoes, okay, a farmer producing wheat or growing wheat crop, and suppose wheat ka price बढ़ गया, the farmer really possible होगा कि wheat का production बढ़ा दे? It will be only in the next season it will be possible, no? So then only the farmer can go for producing more of wheat. So these are the challenges of elastic and inelastic supply. Then new plants and machinery. If it is easy to make new plants and machinery, then in that case, or to enter in the new market, then the supply will be more elastic. Agar nahi kar sakte, then in that case, it will be inelastic. Okay. Difficult for firms to find alternative resources. You cannot find, suppose the supply requires more of raw material, and you are not getting enough of raw material. So how will you increase your production? You cannot increase your production because you are not getting enough raw material. So getting raw material also for the production process is very, very important. And if you do not get, suppose you want to produce something where you are in a service sector. So आप काम कर रहे हैं data analytics में, and you need more people, those who are expertise in data analytics. What will happen in that case? अब मार्केट में डिमांड बढ़ गई है, प्राइसेस अब जा रही है डेटा एनालिटिक्स सर्विस प्रोवाइडर्स की, बट आपके पास इनफ स्किल नहीं है, you do not have enough set of people, those who are competent for data analytics. What will happen? Will you be able to generate more clients? नहीं कर पाएंगे, because आप supply नहीं cater कर सकते, because आपका alternative resources limited है. You do not have enough alternative resources to increase the production process. So elasticity of supply will depend on that. Then the price elasticity of supply also depends on competition in the market. Higher the competition, more and more competitors you have in the market, more elastic the supply, isn't it? तो जितने ज्यादा producers होंगे, जितने ज्यादा competitors होंगे, उतनी ज्यादा price के रिस्पॉन्ड में supply increase करना possible. आप नहीं करेंगे, somebody else will do it, because it's a competitive market. And since it is a competitive market, if you will not increase the supply, somebody else will go for supplying and will take the market share. अगर आप नहीं प्रोड्यूस करेंगे कोई और प्रोड्यूस करेगा और वो मार्केट शेयर ले जाएगा अपने साथ में. सो इफ यू वांट टू हैव द होल्ड ऑन द मार्केट, अगर आपको अपना मार्केट शेयर रिटेन करना है तो उसके लिए क्या जरूरी है आपको? टू इंक्रीज द सप्लाई. So that means higher the competition, higher the price elasticity of supply. For example, we say lower the entry barriers. You see in banks, telecom sector, oil companies, aviation sector, यहाँ पे सप्लाई क्या कैसी होगी? इनलास्टिक होगी, बिकॉज देर आर एंट्री बैरियर्स. ओनली फ्यू पीपल कैन एंटर इन दिस मार्केट because of huge investments, because of the government restrictions. So new players cannot enter so easily in the market. So what will happen in that case? The supply will be priced inelastic. Lower the entry barriers. For example, you are manufacturing basic products. Let's say something like essence stick. Essence stick समझते हैं ना? agarbatti, or for example we say candles or something like that. So anybody can join, anybody can leave, it's very easy. So what will happen in that case? जब prices बढ़ जाएंगे उस प्रोडक्ट के लिए बहुत सारे प्रोड्यूसर्स आ जाएंगे. जब प्राइस कम हो जाएगा उस प्रोडक्ट के प्रोड्यूसर्स मार्केट छोड़ के दूसरे में चले जाएंगे. So when the prices goes up and it is easy to enter, many producers will join. Many producers will join because the prices are increasing. So the supply becomes more elastic when the barriers are less. Entry barriers are less, supply will be more elastic. अगर entry barriers होंगे, तो then supply will be more inelastic in nature. Okay. The greater the spare production capacity, we have already shared. अगर production capacity आपकी है स्पेयर में, यू हैव सरप्लस प्रोडक्शन कैपेसिटी और आप अपना प्रोडक्शन उससे कम कर रहे हैं, यू आर प्रोड्यूसिंग लेस देन व्हाट योर प्रोडक्शन कैपेसिटी इज, देन इन दैट केस व्हाट विल हैपन? अगर आप प्रोडक्शन बढ़ाएंगे विद द इंक्रीज इन द प्राइस, आपकी कॉस्ट भी कम हो जाएगी बिकॉज यू विल बी प्रोड्यूसिंग मोर एट अ लोअर कॉस्ट. एवरेज कॉस्ट विल रिड्यूस, सो इट विल बी मोर बेनिफिशियल फॉर यू. सो if you have a production capacity and you are producing less and the price goes up, your supply will be price elastic. अगर आपके पास spare production capacity नहीं है and if price goes up, then the supply price elasticity will be inelastic. Okay. Then availability of raw material. If you can get raw material easily, then what will happen? As the price will increase, the quantity supplied can also be increased. So if raw material is easily available, you can increase the supply with the increase in the price of it. अगर raw materials ही नहीं मिलेंगे आपको, suppose you are making mobile and the prices are going up and you want to make and you want to the prices goes up, you want to have more supply of the product so that ज्यादा लोग मोबाइल लेंगे और आप ज्यादा सेल्स बढ़ेगी because prices आप जा रही हैं, आपका प्रॉफिट भी बढ़ेगा. But the problem is that you do not have access to basic chip and other factors which are important, the raw material which is important for making the software which you require is not enough in number for you to cater to the people. Okay, so the problems arises in terms of expertise who can help you to design the mobile which consumers are asking for. एक आपने बना दिया मोबाइल, अब उसमें इनोवेशन आ गए मार्केट में, न्यू प्लेयर्स हैव कम और आप उसको मैच नहीं कर पा रहे because of your lower capacity. So then how will your supply become elastic? So supply elasticity के लिए बहुत जरूरी है कि आपकी प्रोडक्शन कैपेसिटी हो, प्लस आपके पास इनफ रॉ मटेरियल हो, थर्ड आपके पास स्टोरेज हो, फोर्थ आपके पास रिसोर्सेज हो, ह्यूमन कैपिटल हो. सो दिस इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. फिफ्थ, आपके पास मोबिलिटी हो रिसोर्सेज की, यू कैन स्विच ओवर फ्रॉम ए टू बी प्रोडक्ट कैटेगरी. दैट इज, सो मैकडोनल्ड्स का आप बर्गर खाते हैं, सपोज लेट्स से दैट the demand for McDonald's burger, for aloo tikki burger is more than any other burger. So what will you do if you are McDonald person? तो आप जो resources बाकी burgers में जा रहे थे वो सब आपको आलू टिक्की burger में use कर लेंगे so that you can meet up the demand. So here the elasticity of supply will be higher as compared to aviation company. Aviation company में for example Indigo flight going from Delhi to Pune, और अगर उसका प्राइस बढ़ गया तो वो नंबर ऑफ फ्लाइट्स तो बढ़ा नहीं सकते ना, they cannot increase, so they will not be able, so the supply in that case will be inelastic in nature. बिकॉज उनके पास इतनी कैपेसिटी नहीं है कि वो नया प्लेन लेके वहां पुणे पे ट्रैवल करा सके. सो दिस इज हाउ इट वर्क्स. ओके, सो इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ सप्लाई. तो हो सकता है आपको कुछ एग्जांपल्स दे दें एंड देन दे आस्क यू इन एग्जाम whether this will be price supply elastic or inelastic, or they can give you 2 3 scenarios and then they ask you to find out in this case will it be elastic or inelastic supply. This is how you should be. Concept clarity is very important. If you understand once the concept, तब आप differentiate कर पाएंगे कि किसमें supply elastic होगी किसमें inelastic होगी. Otherwise it will be very very difficult to understand. Sufficient raw material I have told you. Factors of production easily substitute. You can substitute one for the other. आपको भी example दिया मैकडोनल्ड्स का बर्गर, आलू टिक्की बर्गर और दूसरा आपका मैकवेजी बर्गर, वट एवर इट इज अबाउट. अगर आलू टिक्की बर्गर की डिमांड बढ़ जाएगी, आलू टिक्की बर्गर डिमांड इंक्रीजेस, then McVeggie resources will be used for producing aloo tikki rather than producing more of McVeggie, isn't it? So this is how it works. Now, if the products are more specialized, specific category of products, specific category of products में supply कैसी होगी, elastic or inelastic? For specific categories of products which are unique in nature, which are more difficult to be produced, which are complex in production process. So such commodities will be supply inelastic, specialized products. Inelastic will be difficult to increase. Generic products means जो common products है, उनको increase करना supply उनकी easy है, because वो common products है, easily आप उसको increase कर सकते हैं production. So price elasticity of generic products will be higher, and for the specific products it will be less. So this you should understand here, that the ease with which factor substitution can be made. जितना easily आप A से B में switch over कर सकते हैं, उतनी elastic आपकी supply है. If the factors of production used in production of the commodity are commonly available, you have easily available resources, then it will be elastic. It can be easily substituted. Then the firm will be able to produce quickly. So we have already shared. Use of raw materials. There is shortage of supply of raw materials. Then in that case, it will be inelastic. If you have a longer delivery period, then it will be inelastic. Sorry, if it is a longer delivery period, it can be elastic. Shorter time period में आपके लिए production मुश्किल हो जाएगा. Okay. If the labor employed, एक skilled set of labor चाहिए आपको, एक specific skill चाहिए. जैसे data analytics, for example, people dealing in heart surgery, cardio. Okay, so these people are rare in number. So if the price will increase, then the supply cannot increase because they are scarce. Okay, so if you have skilled labor which requires high skill, high caliber, then in that case, supply will be inelastic. Supply will be inelastic. Otherwise, supply can become more elastic. So specific physicians हैं, doctors हैं, आपके जैसे chartered accountants हैं, उनकी supply will be inelastic because इसके लिए special competency चाहिए आपको. आप इतनी मेहनत करेंगे तभी तो आप chartered accountant बनेंगे. So everybody cannot become a chartered accountant. No. So your supply will be inelastic as compared to daily wages labor, जो कि कॉन्ट्रैक्ट वर्कर्स होते हैं, डेली वेजेस लेबरर्स होते हैं, वो इजीली सब्स्टिट्यूट कर सकते हो आप ए से बी में. यू कैन गेट देम इजीली. दैट मीन्स इट विल बी मोर इलास्टिक इन नेचर. Occupational mobility. Occupational mobility is that you can move from place 1 to B. Suppose Infosys one services demand goes up, software company demand goes up for one particular software. So उस केस में क्या होगा? अगर people can work online from anywhere, what will happen? It will become more elastic because factor mobility बढ़ जाएगी ना. You need not go to place, but you can do online only. So what will happen? As the price will increase, the supply will increase. Price elasticity of supply. You will have a higher price elasticity of supply अगर आप easily resources को factors of production को use कर सकते हो, labor और capital को. So online होने की वजह से क्या होगा? It will be more elastic in nature. If it is offline, Very difficult, no? A person to go from Delhi to Pune, Pune to Mumbai, and so on. So then in that case, it will be more inelastic in nature. Then continuous production process. अगर आप एक season wise production process करते हैं, you are producing something season wise. So companies, fashion industry companies, which are making specific products which are uh, suitable in summer. अब सपोज ग्लोबल वार्मिंग हो गया, कुछ हो गया, फैक्टर हो गया, और वेदर कंडीशंस चेंज हो गई समर में, winters maybe you feel like summer, isn't it? So when winter approaches, these companies will go for more of winter stock, woolen stocks. But since winter has not approached, अभी तक ठंडा ही नहीं है, then what people will do? People will still opt for cotton clothes or summer clothes, and they will not have enough inventory. उनके पास होगा नहीं inventory, because उनका continuous process तो है नहीं to make all throughout summer clothes. So what will happen in that case? They will have inelastic supply, inelastic supply. But अगर continuous process है, company which is making Maggie, all throughout वो Maggie बनाते हैं. So if the price will increase over the period of time, they can increase the supply also. जो continuous production process में होते हैं goods, they will be more elastic as compared to which are not in continuous production process. Products which are produced infrequently, जो कभी-कभी बनते हैं products, those products which are not made on a regular basis. Yes, Kumar. The products which are not made on regular basis, कुछ unique products. For example, some antique paintings. For example, some unique, what should I say, art or something unique. So what will happen in that case? Will it be elastic or inelastic? उसका price बढ़ता जाएगा, but वो unique product फिर से नहीं बन पाएगा, isn't it? So it's not easy to make that unique product. So that's why it will be inelastic supply. उसका supply जो है price के respond में change नहीं होगा. Then expectation, what one of you were asking about. People, somebody was asking about this speculation. Chaitanya was asking about speculation. So speculation, when you expect, जब आप एक प्रोड्यूसर हैं, आप एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं कि प्राइसेस बढ़ेंगी फ्यूचर, व्हाट यू डू इन फ्यूचर, इट्स बीन सब्सटैंशियल इंक्रीज इन फ्यूचर. तो आज प्राइस बढ़ रही है, यू विल नॉट रिस्पॉन्ड, बिकॉज आपको पता है फ्यूचर में और ज्यादा बढ़ेगी. सो यू विल वेट टिल द टाइम इट गोज अप टू दैट एक्सटेंट. सो इन फ्यूचर इट बिकम्स इन इलास्टिक सप्लाई, बिकॉज आपको पता है कि आज जो प्राइस बढ़ रही है और नेक्स्ट 2 years में वो उससे ज्यादा बढ़ेगी. तो व्हाट विल यू डू? आज आप उसमें इतना रिस्पॉन्ड नहीं करेंगे. यू नो द वंस द प्राइसेस विल गो अप in near future, maybe 1 year or so, तब हम production को बढ़ाएंगे. So expectation of substantial rise in prices in future depends how short the period is or how long the period is. अगर prices कल से ही बढ़ने की आपको expectation है, तो definitely you will become more elastic. अगर आपको लगता है कि expectation of increase in the price is maybe 6 months, after 6 months or 1 year or whatever it is, then your supply will become more inelastic in nature, because आप wait करोगे ना, आप respond नहीं करोगे change in price को. Okay, so this is how it works. So what we have shared till now, I want to summarize before we go for next chapter in the next class. I hope you're referring to MCQs of your study material, as well as which have been uploaded by me also. I will be uploading for the rest of the chapters also MCQ, so that, and it has been marked in bold so that you can find out what is the correct answer. And MCQs which are there in your study material, you have all the answers at the end of the chapter. So you can always see, but don't look for answer before you take efforts from your end. Once you do it from your end, then you cross-check how many questions you have done right and how many questions you have done wrong, because that will help you to perform better. Somebody was asking me how to prepare for this exam. You have to continuously read. Regularly, agar aap padhenge, things will be easy for you, because if you will simply rely on reading, nick of the time, then you will not be, because it's about concept clarity. So it's very, very important to understand about that. Okay. So we had shared in the last class supply. So you understand what is the supply and how is it different from normal people say about supply. Supply is something which is having the implicit component of sales. आपने बनाया कुछ और उसको अपने warehouse में रख दिया, that is not supply. It should reach to market, it should reach to the consumer. Once it is reaching to the consumer is going to buy, then only it is supply. Okay. And this supply is the product quantity of the good or service offered for sale at a particular price at a particular point of time. That is supply. So what are the three factors of supply? It is the quantity of good or service offered for sale at a price, at a specific price and at a specific point of time. Point will change, price will change, and the circumstances will change. And the supply will also change. Yes? So all these factors are very important. Then we have shared determinants of supply. What are the determinants of supply apart from price of the good? It is about factors of production. आपका labor कितना expensive है? You are going for skilled force of labor और या आपके पास generic labor है, contractual workers हैं जो कि ज़्यादा skill जिनके लिए चाहिए नहीं है आपको. You are using sophisticated technology or you are using something which can easily be available. You have those people, those who know about the technology or not. The technology कैसी है आपकी? Then government policies. Is government offering you subsidies? Is government offering you funding? Is government imposing taxes on you? Is government allowing foreign players to enter in your segment? Is government restricting foreign players from entering into your segment? All these factors will make impact. Government अगर foreign players को allow कर रही है, तो उस केस में क्या होगा? आपके competitors बढ़ जाएंगे. Competitors बढ़ने से आपका supply adversely affect होगा, because अगर आप उस price पे supply नहीं कर पाओगे, then you will be losing the market share. So these are the factors which affect the supply. These are also known as determinants of supply. Then law of supply, we have shared. What is law of supply? Law of supply states what? When the price of the good rises, the quantity supplied of the good increases. Condition to that, all other factors remaining constant. Okay? अगर आप बाकी factors को constant रखेंगे नहीं, then in that case we can't say that this law of supply is going to hold true. ये तभी applicable होगा जब आप बाकी सारे factors को constant लेंगे. Okay? Then supply curve. We have shared supply curve. Supply curve क्या होता है? Supply curve is upward sloping. This is the price and this is the quantity supply. If you move from A to B, this is known as expansion. Expansion in the supply. Why expansion? Because price बढ़ गया और quantity supply बढ़ गया. Expansion. If you move from B to A, B to A is contraction. Because price is decreasing and quantity supplied is also decreasing. So this is what we have shared is movement along the supply curve. So this is about the supply curve relationship between amount of quantity supplied and the price. Upward sloping curve shows positive relationship between the quantity supplied. When the supply of the good increases as a result of increase in price, upward movement is known as expansion and the downward movement is known as contraction. We have shared that. Then what is elasticity of supply? Elasticity of supply we have shared. How the consumer responds. How the consumer responds to the change in the price with respect to the, how the producer responds to the change in price with respect to changing the supply of the commodity. So producer's response to is elasticity of supply. We have shared this. Then elasticity of supply. What is elasticity of supply? And good. You may get, no worries. Chaitanya, it's all about working hard and being inquisitive. You can always score. So elasticity of supply can be classified to perfectly elastic supply. We have shared. Inelastic supply क्या होता है? Which is parallel to y-axis. Y-axis, you may increase the price, but the price of the product may increase, but आप supply नहीं बढ़ा सकते. You cannot increase supply. You are not responding to the price. Inelastic supply. Perfectly inelastic supply. Okay, perfectly elastic supply is parallel to y-axis. Inelastic supply will be what happened in inelastic supply. Inelastic supply, if the price increases by 10%, supply will increase by less than 10%. So it is inelastic supply. आपको reasons पता है ऐसा क्यों होता है. Greater elastic supply, more elastic supply will be if the price increases by 10%, the quantity supplied will increase by 12%, 13%, definitely more than 10%. Unit elastic means if the price increases by 1% and the quantity supplied also increases by 1%, if the price increases by 10%, quantity supplied also increases by 10%. Perfectly elastic supply means what? Perfectly elastic supply means that you will only be selling the product at a specific price. If the price goes up or decreases, then you will not be selling. But us price pe aap infinite quantity you are ready to sell. So you have decided that I'll sell the good at 100 rupees. I'll not sell at less than 100 rupees. I'll not sell at more than 100 rupees, but I'll definitely sell at 100 rupees. So once you decide that you'll sell at 100 rupees, आप कितनी भी quantity अगर 100 rupees पे sell करना चाहते हैं, then it is perfectly elastic supply. Okay. The measurement of supply elasticity can be done in two ways. We have shared point elasticity and arc elasticity. What is the difference between the point elasticity and arc elasticity? Point elasticity is at a specific point on the supply curve at a specific point of time. एक reference आपका quantity supplied है और new क्या है. But arc is what? Arc is over the period. That means on the supply curve from point A to point B. Okay, so arc elasticity gives you at a specific range when you calculate arc elasticity. So supply can be considered with a given point of time. I've already shared point elasticity at a specific point, or you can go between 2 points, that is known as arc elasticity. Okay. So general determinants of supply are, we have already shared. It can be because of the change in cost component. It can be because of the complex production process. It can be because of the longer time period or the shorter time. It can be because of the number of producers. How many producers are there? What is the level of competition in the market? How many barriers are there? कितने restrictions हैं? कितना easy है enter करना market? कितना time period है? कितने competitors हैं? कितना complex production process है? Production capacity कैसी है आपकी? Stocks available है या नहीं? Raw material का accessibility है कि नहीं? Factor substitutions, you can go for labor and capital substitution कर सकते हैं कि नहीं कर सकते आप? जो आपकी कैपिटल इंटेंसिव टेक्निक का प्रोडक्शन प्रोसेस है, उसमें क्या आप लेबर यूज कर सकते हैं? नहीं कर सकते. सो द सप्लाई विल बिकम इनइलास्टिक. सिमिलरली इफ इट इज लेबर इंटेंसिव, उसमें आप कैपिटल, जैसे बहुत सारी वीविंग मशीन्स होती है, कॉटन क्लोथ्स का वीविंग मशीन. सो दैट who are the people who are working more, workforce is working, people are working more than machines. तो आप उसको रिप्लेस नहीं कर सकते until unless आप पूरी टेक्नोलॉजी चेंज कर दो, then you can go for increasing supply. So where you have more of manual work, you see some people go for making embroidery products. So price कितना भी बढ़ जाए, supply उस quantity में नहीं बढ़ सकती because it takes time. It is a very difficult task. But if you are making something embroidery, you are making on machine. So if people say that we want to buy more kurtas or more particular dress of embroidery dresses, then in that case it will be easy for you because आप उसमें technology driven. जितना ज़्यादा manual होगा, उतना ज़्यादा elastic supply will be more affected because it's not so easy when it is a complex process of production. Okay. Expectations about future price makes the supply inelastic because आज कल prices और बढ़ेंगे. So let's not go for supplying today. You will not respond today, but in future for sure you will be responding more. Then we have shared equilibrium price. What is equilibrium price? Equilibrium price in inelastic supply may lead to abnormal raise in price. Yes, yes, Chaitanya, absolutely. It can lead to external abnormal rise in the price. Normally, it gets controlled by the government also. So equilibrium price is one at which the both we have shared equilibrium price concept. What is equilibrium price concept? हमने share किया. इसमें producer surplus will also be there and consumer surplus will also be there, and this is social well-being. So equilibrium price is also considered as social well-being. Or optimization. Why it is optimization? Because consumer is happy and producer is also happy. I'm able to sell my product and you are able to buy my product. So this is equilibrium. Equilibrium price. Producer surplus and consumer surplus. Okay. So this is what we have shared. Any questions that you have, I can take. Otherwise, MCQ, untrue listing MCQ. Let me see if I can. Okay, you can see this is your study material. And just brief about to share. Okay. हालांकि आप पढ़ेंगे. So the first question is demand for a commodity refers to what are the factors when we say it is demand for the commodity? Demand for the commodity. What makes this will work or not? You see marker. It's not going to work here.
Few questions as there in the this our app, so you can take those questions first.
I'm not having that access to the app.
A few questions that has been there itself, like somebody is asking how to revise economics every day.
Acha, those questions. Okay.
Okay.
I'll take that. The students are asking for MCQ also, sir. So MCQ you can refer. Answers सब दिए हुए हैं आपके इसमें.
Yes, MCQs are there. The answer is also already there. So these questions you can take.
Yes, I'll take from that only. Question pattern regarding elasticity and supply. Elasticity example. फिर से करना. Elasticity of supply का example. See, elasticity of supply के examples. Let me share again my. Okay. See, elasticity of supply में आपको सबसे important कुछ चीजें याद रखनी है. Number one, elasticity means flexibility. How you respond, your responsiveness as a producer to change in price. आप किस हद तक प्राइस के चेंज होने से अपनी सप्लाई को बढ़ाते हैं या कम करते हैं. To what extent you increase the supply of your product or service with respect to change in price. इसीलिए इसको price elasticity of supply भी कहते हैं. Okay, so we are not talking about determinant. For example, we say that अगर आपकी production capacity, suppose you are making tractors. Okay, Tata trucks बना रहा है. So if Tata is making trucks और ट्रक्स का प्राइस बढ़ गया, तो टाटा के लिए पॉसिबल होगा कि उसी प्रोपोर्शनेट में ट्रक्स बना दे? नहीं होगा ना, बिकॉज ट्रक्स में ह्यूज इन्वेस्टमेंट्स है, कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी है प्रोडक्शन प्रोसेस में, रिसोर्सेज आपके पास एक स्पेसिफिक कैटेगरी ऑफ रिसोर्सेज उसके लिए चाहिए, सो दैट मीन्स इट इज इनइलास्टिक। सो आपको बेसिकली इलास्टिसिटी में डिफरेंशिएट करना आना चाहिए कि कौन सा प्रोडक्ट सप्लाई इलास्टिक होगा, कौन सा इनइलास्टिक होगा। उसके लिए हमने फैक्टर्स कंसिडर किए। जितना कॉम्प्लेक्स प्रोडक्शन प्रोसेस होगा उतनी प्रोडक्ट की इलास्टिसिटी कम होगी, इजंट इट? क्योंकि आपको टाइम चाहिए कॉम्प्लेक्स प्रोडक्शन में। मैंने आपको एक सिंपल एग्जांपल दिया टू मेक टिक्कीज। टिक्की मेकिंग टिक्की इज वेरी इजी, इजंट इट? गोलगप्पास इज वेरी इजी। सो जैसे जैसे अगर प्राइस बढ़ता गया, डिमांड बढ़ती गई, वो गोलगप्पे वाला उतने गोलगप्पे बना देगा बिकॉज इट इज इजी, और उसकी कॉस्ट क्या है, नेग्लिजिबली इंक्रीज होगी। बट इफ यू गो फॉर समथिंग विच हैज सब्सटैंशियल कॉस्ट इन्वॉल्व, अगर आप प्रोडक्शन बढ़ाते हैं तो उसमें सब्सटैंशियल, जैसे मेडिसिन मेडिसिन समथिंग फॉर डायबिटिक पेशेंट मेडिसिन, ओके। अब उस मेडिसिन को बनाने में बहुत सारा R&D हुआ है, रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट दे हैव डन, बहुत सारा टाइम लगा। अगर उसका प्राइस बढ़ जाएगा और उस मेडिसिन को उसी प्रोपोर्शनेट में बढ़ाना मुश्किल हो जाएगा। बट अगर एक उन्होंने सॉल्ट बना लिया, एक फॉर्मूला बना लिया, और फिर उसके बाद में अगर उसका प्राइस बढ़ गया, तो डेफिनेटली वो फॉर्मूला के बेसिस पे प्रोडक्शन बढ़ा सकते हैं, तो उस केस में इलास्टिसिटी ज्यादा होगी। तो आपको फिक्सअप करना पड़ेगा कि क्या प्रोडक्ट है, उसकी लाइफ साइकिल कैसी है, उसमें कॉस्ट कितनी इन्वॉल्व है, उसके सब्स्टिट्यूट कितने हैं, उसके कॉम्पिटिटर्स मार्केट में कितने हैं, उसका रॉ मटेरियल प्रोक्योरमेंट में की क्या पॉसिबिलिटी है, उसमें टेक्नोलॉजी कौन सी यूज हो रही है, उसमें फैक्टर्स ऑफ प्रोडक्शन, लेबर कैसा है, कैजुअल वर्कर्स हैं या लाइक डेली वेजेस वर्कर्स हैं, या AI ड्रिवन प्रोडक्ट है। सो सारे फैक्टर्स के बेसिस पे आप डिसाइड कर सकते हैं। दूसरा एक कॉन्सेप्ट हो गया, सेकंड इज अबाउट कैलकुलेशन। इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ सप्लाई का कैलकुलेशन कैसे करेंगे? सो उसके दो मेथड्स हमने किए, आर्क इलास्टिसिटी एंड पॉइंट इलास्टिसिटी। आपको दोनों मेथड्स को थरली एनालाइज करना है, अंडरस्टैंड करना है, कैलकुलेशंस करने हैं, सो दैट you can shortlist the final answer which is required. Okay, so this is what else you have shared. In elastic supply may lead to, yes Chaitanya, I've already shared that. बाकी इकोनॉमिक्स पढ़ने के लिए, हाउ टू स्कोर गुड मार्क्स इन इकोनॉमिक्स, आपके लिए इम्पोर्टेंट है कि आप हर कॉन्सेप्ट को थरली समझो। बिकॉज MCQ में इट इज नॉट अबाउट दैट यू कैन डू रैंडम answers, take random answers, 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Once you understand concept, कितना ही डिफिकल्ट क्वेश्चन होगा आप आंसर कर पाएंगे। सो डिमांड, यू अंडरस्टैंड डिमांड, एक लेमैन डिमांड को कैसे डिफाइन करता है, हम इकोनॉमिक्स में डिमांड को कैसे डिफाइन करते हैं, एक लेमैन सप्लाई को कैसे डिफाइन करता है, हम सप्लाई को कैसे डिफाइन करते हैं, व्हाट इज द सिग्निफिकेंस ऑफ इलास्टिसिटी फॉर डिफरेंट कैटेगरी ऑफ पीपल, वेदर इट इज सप्लाई, सप्लाई के केस में कैसे होती है, प्रोड्यूसर के केस में, कंज्यूमर के केस में कैसे होती है, कंज्यूमर सरप्लस का कॉन्सेप्ट क्या है, कंज्यूमर सरप्लस का कॉन्सेप्ट बिजनेस यूनिट्स कैसे यूज करते हैं। सो आपका कोर्स स्टडी मटेरियल इज वेरी एक्सटेंसिव, आप उसको वर्ड टू वर्ड फॉलो करो, और उसके अलावा जो आपसे नोट्स शेयर किए आप उसको पढ़ो, एंड रेफर टू सम MCQ test also given in your mode of studies resources, तो उसको भी आप सॉल्व करो, and that will suffice for you scoring good marks. Okay, so that's it from my side. Any other question if you have, I have not addressed. One is about, Chaitanya is asking, malpractice is done with intention to increase price so that profit will increase. See, malpractice तब होगा जब आपकी कैपेसिटी है and you are not producing, you are controlling the supply so that the prices should shoot up, और फिर उसके बाद में जब आप अपनी कैपेसिटी के अकॉर्डिंग रिलीज कर दें मार्केट में उस प्रोडक्ट। बट दिस एथिकली इज नॉट ट्रू, एंड देयर आर रेगुलेटरी बॉडीज which always ensure कि ऐसे अनएथिकल वे में प्रैक्टिसेस प्राइसिंग को नहीं शूट अप किया जाए. हियर वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट अदर वे राउंड. अगर प्राइस बढ़ता है तो प्रोड्यूसर क्या करता है? मैल प्रैक्टिस में क्या होगा कि प्रोड्यूसर इंक्रीज करता है, एस्केलेट करता है प्राइसेस. दैट्स अ डिफरेंट थिंग. बट इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ सप्लाई व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट, वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट कि आप एज अ प्रोड्यूसर विद द चेंज इन द प्राइस, हाउ डू यू रिस्पॉन्ड? दैट्स so it is somewhat different. I hope you understood this. That's it for today's class. If you want to say anything, or shall I wind up?
From next class onwards, we'll be talking about production and cost,
Yes.
and thereon market and all. So till now, what is been taught in the class, students are advised to revise the concepts. Although in detail, everything is been explained, and we hope that you must have a better understanding of the subject after attending these classes. And although our study material is more than sufficient, so don't you have to look for other resources. Revise the study material, read line by line. So definitely you will have a better understanding of the concepts. And mostly from the exam point of view also, questions is from the study material only. So a revision, better understanding of the subjects that or the concepts that has been there, that is only through can be attained through practice by revising the concepts, just correlating the concept that you have understood. And mostly the major portion in microeconomics that evolve around demand and supply only. So in detail, the whole concept of demand and supply is been taught in the class. So from next class onwards, we'll be focusing on production cost, because then after market structure and business cycle will be taught. So kindly revise the concepts, make productive use of the time that is been here, because here we all are for your growth and development only. So we are not we are trying our best. So definitely our one thing is our expectation from the students also is that they should behave well in the class, try to ask as many queries as they want to ask, but that doesn't mean that you'll be writing something fishy or derogatory that is not proper. So maintain the decorum in the class. We are trying our best to give the best input to you, and definitely is up to you how you are utilizing the classes and all the content that we are providing apart from the practice tests that we are giving. So hope you all are enjoying this session, and definitely as session will further go on, more and more improvement will be there. So definitely at the starting point, definitely even the faculty knows that what are the genuine queries that has been coming from the students. So he or she used to prepare his lecture or her lecture from that perspective only. So we are trying our best. So hope just enjoy the session, practice regularly, and see you in the next class. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.